Jen a few minutes. How's the public services desk going?
It's going really well. We've been having staff kind of keep tabs on any weird things going on or things that we might need to fix. But I think the most difficult thing has just been getting people to understand that we do everything just at this one desk.
Getting them reoriented.
Good.
Well, I didn't hear from Jen. Oh, no, she did tell me that she could not be here today, so I'll shut the door.
I'm sorry about that.
So it's 5:31 and I'd like to officially call the meeting to order. And I'm going to start by saying it was my brilliant idea to have this Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and I'm still not caught up from Thanksgiving yet, so. I will own that one. I still think it was a good idea to have one meeting for November, December, but maybe the Tuesday after 4-day weekend when my brain died was not the best idea. However, we're here. That's the important thing. Did everybody have a chance to read the minutes?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Would anyone like to make a move to approve the minutes as written?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of, what meeting was that?
October.
October, as written.
Second motion.
Thank you. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the motion was approved. So that's done. So the board chair report, as I said, I apologize for the fact that I completely missed up on, my brain was absent for 4 days, but the items that we need to cover are basically the report to the city council, which is, I think, the most important thing, and the donation policy, which is something that we own as well. So those might get done next year. But any questions for me? Any other board member reports? Still nothing happening with LDAC, I assume, Marissa?
No, nothing has happened recently, although there's a meeting scheduled Thursday of this week. That I don't really know if anything's going to be decided then, but there's news about it this week. But I've been told likely nothing will come up.
Oh, okay.
But I'll update you every time I have an update, which usually is a Thursday.
Lois, was everyone able to go to the Cultivating Candy meeting last month? I heard it was pretty jam-packed.
I went to it and
So
it was
Marissa went to it,
jam-packed.
Rick went to
I
it, Linda went to it, and I
for
went
the,
to it.
You're all there,
PowerPoint presentation, and that was it, because they were gonna go into work groups and so on, so. And unfortunately, I can't make the February one either, I'm gonna be in New Zealand, so
Oh.
it's not gonna work.
And I went into one of the small work groups, which was supervised by one of the city employees.
Was she a city employee or was she just on the planning commission?
No, the lady who handed the pens to.
Oh, right. Oh,
and
right.
was totally taken over by a nice person from the planning commission. And several of the people at my table left halfway through because our input was not really required nor appreciated. And so I did at one point suggest that that enormous swatch of land on the other side of 99E where there are 1 million houses might well have a park, and gifted with a sticker for a park, which was not big enough to was big enough to park a car, but perhaps not to park a game. Anyway, I thought it was a worthless meeting. That's-
So for our, so Linda and I sat at the same
For our
table,
table.
and there was obviously a very strong agenda, and they didn't answer some of my questions. Like, I mean, Canby has to grow. Okay, we all know that. But there are no plans for like another major arterial into Canby. Right now, there's Knightsbridge Road and there's 99 north and south, and that's it. And how, I mean, they're already crazy busy. So it's kind of like the state tells us to grow, that we have to grow. But when I asked about like another, what are you going to do to have, you need at least one more major artery, if not two, then there was like, well, we're not talking about that. And this, so as Linda said, Linda and I left. That it was like, we didn't feel that our input was wanted in any way, shape, or form.
Well, to your point, for the last 20 or 30 years, maybe longer, there has been plans, long-term plans to connect Canby to I-5 directly, which requires over the Molalla River and clear through, farmland and things out beyond the urban growth boundary and so on. And the combination of agencies involved is amazing. It's like
Well, and
5
there's
or
a
6
bridge involved, and that's
bridge involved,
very
expense,
expensive.
and so on. And it comes up about every 5 to 10 years.
I personally don't understand why Canby doesn't say back to the state, we're not going to grow until this is resolved, because there has to be another major artery. That when I first moved here in January of 2015, and I actually went back into downtown Portland. So this is 2015, and going out Knightsbridge Road in the morning, and I left my house at 6:20, and we live over on the north side. I mean, just a solid line of traffic then. And then I went back 2 years later in 2017 to help them out with a project. And I had to leave the house at 6 o'clock to make the same commute that, 2 years earlier, I could leave at 6:20 and still be in my office downtown at 7 o'clock. And I mean, it's just like the traffic was just that much worse.
Well, the initial input was because of, for commercial purposes, future industrial park purchases. This is before there was an industrial park.
Yeah.
So the goal was to market Canby for mixed, properties, commercial, retail, manufacturing, so on and so forth. And then hopefully that would spur on the connection to I-5, because otherwise they got to want it through, go 99 north to Oregon City and so forth. So there was a lot of conflicting information, changes in city council, changes in county government, and so on. And it never really got off the ground beyond, brainstorming. And like I say, this has been going on forever. And there is a plan. Just briefly off topic, I live towards Milano Airport. There was actually a plan in play that Milano Airport would be a reliever airport, just like Troutdale and Hillsborough, because of the growth of private planes. Well, that's never happened. It never happened, and so they killed that idea. But there is actually you can go in history and you can see all these proposals out there. They're all on shelves now.
Yeah, because when I brought it up, the person who
Yeah.
was on the planning commission basically shut me down.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that, we're not
Well-
discussing that. It's like, but how can you talk about one without talking
Yeah,
about the
well,
other?
It's a good point.
Mhm.
And I'm just giving you a little
Yeah.
bit of verbal history, so I don't have any paperwork to show you, but it comes and goes.
I think they are planning to repeat that meeting, that planning session, so if you missed it, I don't know when it is, but that might be something if you're interested.
They
I'd kinda like to
sent
go
an
again
email.
and- Did they send it?
Yeah,
I didn't get it. And I
I
signed up.
didn't either.
yeah, they sent an email. It's February. The
Huh.
next one is February.
No, that's,
Get one.
isn't that the third in the series?
No,
So there should be a yeah.
well, I thought this was it was a duplication of what we,
Did they say that in the email that it was in
believe so.
February?
Hmm.
Maybe it is.
I believe so. I just read it fast, but I believe so.
Huh.
The thing about the Cultivating Canby survey that really bothered me was that really it's about growth and it's not about cultivating Canby. I mean, I feel like it was deceptive that they weren't really honest about, okay, you know, people, we got to grow, so let's talk about how we're going to do it versus, oh yeah, we want this to be about the community and this, that, the other thing. It's like, no, that wasn't what, because if it had been about that truly, it would have included the library. And it was obvious that it's about roads and urban growth boundaries and stuff like that. So I was a little bit shocked and disappointed, and I felt deceived by the whole, because I read every single email that came out. I read the website. I went online and stuff like that. And then I got to the meeting and I thought, this is not, you know.
There was really not even any talk about how the city, industry within the city, other than commercial, stores and what kinds of infrastructure you have to have in order for people who live in the city to actually stay in the city and do their business in the city.
Meanwhile, 3 businesses current are going out of
Going
business.
out of business, yeah,
That I know of, there could be.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, it's.
Wayward Siren Song and.
I
Big
think,
Five and Rite Aid are gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Closing December
Yeah.
4th.
Well, it's,
That's a lot.
that was part of,
They're all being sent to Fred Meyer's. Won't that be fun?
yeah.
We maybe have some other improvements to make. But I'm thinking,
Yeah, I was gonna say too, I didn't go to the first meeting, but I was told that there were like 30 to 40 people there. And so this second meeting, a lot of people were going to for the first time, and I would have liked to have some more information on presentation. I felt like a lot of people were there for the first time and didn't really know what to do or what was wanted.
Well, and I noticed for the meeting that, where Linda and I went together, that a lot of the big farm families showed up. The Simnets were there, the Gits were there, the guy at our table was there. I mean, I think that's the reason they had so many people, is because so many of the farmers, and Canby is in the middle of farming community.
not for long.
That, I mean, and they're obviously, and they've been around a long time, they've been members of the community a long time, they expect to and want to be heard, you know, because it does impact them, you know.
That was the primary thing that came up about roads and traffic, was the fact that the farm equipment had a hard time getting through the city, which is true, you know, I mean, but it's also true that those farms are going to be developed as houses. That was one of the really interesting things to me. One of the Monacuco boys was at our table, and that was, it turns out that the farm, their farm area, which is across from looks like going to take single family houses.
It seemed
some-
like what they
some
decided was that
dimension,
going
yeah.
out Holly, going towards the park, on the right, that side would be developed, and on the left, that would be kept as farmland. It seemed to be what the person from the planning commission
Yeah.
was saying.
Yeah, at this point.
So,
Oh, I don't know. But I wasn't, it wasn't well thought out there. For one thing, they weren't expecting the crowd.
yeah, they were not at all prepared for that many people. There must have been a couple of hundred people there.
Yeah. there had to
Easily.
be.
Yeah, I mean, there
Easily.
weren't enough chairs, there wasn't enough tables.
Yeah.
We moved 2 tables out in the hallway of the police department. Some people left, they said they would do another meeting. It was great.
So, Luke, anything to report on?
I don't believe there's, I mean, there's not really any news. I think the only thing that now becomes something to consider is the fact that I'll be leaving in a few months and we no longer have a connection to the school through Mr. Banks.
Right.
And the lady who I worked with, who I like applied through when I started, is now no longer at the school also, I believe. And so we basically have to figure out how we're gonna find someone new. We have to figure out what that looks like because I don't really know what that looks like.
Luke, can we go through the counseling office?
Probably, I think. Okay.
You have a connection, Linda? Do you have a connection in the counseling office? Oh,
Yeah, no, I know somebody in the counseling office.
Okay.
So I think I could make that happen. And I actually even have a candidate, I think.
Okay, yeah. Because I think that's just a system that wasn't super clearly established at the school. It was a very informal process when I came on board. And so I think just trying to figure out maybe how we can formalize that going forward would be something to consider.
How old were you when you came on the board?
It was the beginning of my sophomore year.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was just like, they put out like a slide up on our TVs that we had, and it was like, email and like answer these questions. And I think I was like the only person who responded, so.
Well, thank you for
And then
doing
it
that.
got more formalized once I got involved with like the city, and there was like, I think a paper I had to fill out. But on the school's end, it was basically nothing. That's what we had to figure out.
that's a good point. Okay. Linda, you got the action then to reach out to somebody?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Marissa, you're up next.
Okay, I sent my director's bi-monthly report, so I basically just pulled information from here, which came from the report that I send to the mayor and city council every other month, and I just kind of boiled it down and made it a little more digestible. So here's some of the stuff going on. Yesterday, we interviewed for some more on-calls. We offered the job to 2 different candidates. So hopefully they'll be able to fill in some of the gaps that we have coming up here with staffing. That's great. Spaces, we created, and by we, I mean Philip, created a space for tweens in the library that is between the juvenile nonfiction and the teen section. There's tables there, there's little comfy chairs there. We put out some like chess sets and other board games, and the space has actually been getting used, so that's a big deal. As far as collections go, we moved the nonfiction DVD collection to the front of the library in front of all of the DVDs so they get more looks and more checkouts. And also because people constantly ask us where they are, and now we can just point right there. The new juvenile materials, those used to be at the front of the library, but now we relocated them to the very front of their shelving units in the J fiction area, and that's partially because we wanted to get the kids essentially back into the stacks so they know where all the books are and get more stuff checked out and all that good stuff. Because I feel like a lot of times people just look at the new section and they leave, and that's totally fine. I'm really sure how they use them, but we wanted to get books. Other news, we have a current new artist, Holly. Her stuff is up in the library right now. It's beautiful, so if you haven't seen it, go take a look. Really good stuff. The next picture is the thankfall tree pictures, and no, I did not spell that incorrectly. On the left, basically was the tree when we first put it then on the right, even now that picture's a couple weeks old, there's more than over there, but basically patrons could come in, kids, adults, whoever, write something they're thankful for and then put it on the wall, on the tree. And the funny part is even if one of them falls down, it just looks like a floating wing, and some people come back up, some just leave them there. Kind of thing. The Bridging Cultures wings are going to be going pretty soon, but they were a really cool staple in the library since summer reading, where people could take pictures in front of them, and it was really a community art project. So everybody wanted to have that too. If you turn to the back page, this is the upcoming events and news. We started the Minecraft Club in connection with the Westland Library and the Ventura Library in California, and that's because that's where our children so 3 different groups of teenagers in each of those libraries all get together and do Minecraft at the same time with laptops that we have, with the software, and Dungeons and Dragons recently started this month on the 1st and 3rd Saturdays. I think the first session had 4 or 5 students, and then the second one had 7 or 8. I think they want to cap it. It's a long game. Local author Camilla Kay will be doing a presentation.
Wow.
Tomorrow, that's joining us. This Saturday, December 2nd, from 12 to 2, there's going to be a little Christmas program going on. There will be a holiday craft, live music by actually one of our volunteers, one of our team volunteers, and then it's also the start of the winter reading program. So you can get your card there. That should be super fun. And then I already told you about the public service first, but that's been going really well. Like I said earlier, it's just been kind of educating. And then on the right-hand side is just a little snapshot that we create every other month. So it just basically goes through all the things we did, how many items we added, how many checkouts of certain materials, how many people came into the library, program participation, things like that. And I will say that pretty much every bi-monthly report I do, those are the main pieces of news from September and October, and then some of the upcoming programs. Things are going really well, and people are happy to be working here and happy to be coming here, and it's great.
Great. Thanks, Marissa.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Digital checkouts, that's not what I wanted to, items added to the collection.
Yes.
How does that break down by what is added, like digital checkouts versus on the shelf?
So the items added in the collection, that's only physical items that we are ordering, cataloging, processing, and putting out on the shelf or sending out as schools. So none of that is e-content, it's all physical items. And it's kind of all over the place just because the prices of items are all over the place. So like our children's librarian spends a certain amount of, per month on his materials. I spend a certain amount a month on my materials. So it doesn't really break out into any specific, nonfiction, adult has this many items added and this many for juvenile, which is kind of a collective number that all the libraries get from a network report that we receive that tells and all that good stuff. But this is a really important number to look at, especially because, we do have people who come in and they're upset that we don't have a certain book, and it's probably because we had to read it at some point, and that's because, if we add 1,000 items per month, we can't just keep stacking them on top of each other. We have to get rid of that. And I don't remember if I told you guys this or not. It's just a really funny stat to keep in my head, but the size of the adult nonfiction collection, there's about a little over 9,000 items in that collection. That's how many items just in candy alone are out at any given time. So if you think about patrons returning everything, think about that many items coming back to the library and having to be added on the shelves, and then we're still adding new materials. So, that's actually more than we normally add. I'd say usually 600 and 800, but still been a lot of orders. very high certs with the juvenile comics and the juvenile nonfiction. Like, we used to really focus on. So, yeah, that's that.
Any other questions for Marissa?
I just got one quick question. I think we talked about this before, but as far as finding a way to log or track or provide data on actual customer, library holder usage, bodies coming in, because your checkouts is basically how many, that's checkouts, those are individual items, correct? That's not people. That's got nothing to do with
Right,
people.
physical checkouts.
So,
There
so,
could be one
so, so
person
one
that
person can check
out.
out 25 books or 50 books, whatever, and it's one person. I just wondered, without, I know we had some equipment, you were saying that we could actually track people in and out or something.
That's visitors, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, so if you look at the
Visitors?
that's how many people we have coming in those 2 months.
Oh.
The physical checkouts is how many items were checked out from those people.
From these visitors, okay,
Yes.
all right, I didn't see, I'm sorry, I didn't drop it down. All right, so that answers that question for me, thank you,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy lately. We always hover around like 42,000 checkouts.
Okay,
Yeah, but
Thank-
that's just candy payments alone.
so is the visitor trending, is that trending up then? The visitor
Yeah,
count?
it's constantly going.
It's constantly
I
going?
mean, I had to report, I remember, to finance, something, and from 2021, 2023, there was like, it was a huge jump in the amount of people coming, like, or the actual number.
Okay,
It was
good,
huge.
good.
Even she had remarked about it, so. We're seeing more and more people, I would say, a lot of our regulars, a lot of new regulars, and a lot of like brand new people. So it's been all over
Good.
the place. We've just seen a lot.
There's a lot of new houses that have gone up in Canby in
Yeah.
the past few years.
Philip is doing such a good job of bringing people and children in for the programs that he's putting on, that I think that's been a huge treat.
How does the digital, um, how do that get changed? I mean, because we're just contributing to the digital books.
Right, so we get some of these numbers from our network office, and they basically will send us reports, and it'll have all of the library's information on it, and then they'll have it, taken out for each library too. So I can always look at how many items are being checked out by any of those.
Yeah, sure. So, do we contribute to the consortium to buy the digital materials?
Yes, and
We contribute a set amount.
yes.
Okay.
And I will tell you too that we just recently had our directors meeting 2 weeks ago for the holiday. And we were presented with a bunch of stats about how e-content for every library is going up. And so we had to have a conversation as to how much more we would put into the pot for e-content. And a percentage was agreed upon, which was 20%. So every library is going to be putting an extra 20% in. And, we had a conversation about how, every year if that keeps trending up and we have to keep putting more money in the pot, that likely means, because a lot of libraries aren't getting more money, that we're going to have to be taking that money from our physical collections. And then it's also like, well, how far up are we going to go? And we've been told that it's likely in the next couple of years it'll start leveling off and we won't have to contribute more. But this 20% increase for every library, every single library. And most of them are going to be taking it from the CD audiobook collections, which, they're getting used, but they're not getting used as much.
No, and that'll soon end totally. I mean, that's gonna go to the wayside, but, I don't see that that expense ever going away because people are writing new books every day.
And e-content is a lot more expensive than people realize to get, one copy.
Very expensive.
Not forever, you don't own it, and to get one copy, it can be like $65.
Wow.
That's why we don't have unlimited checkouts for every item. I'll put it on policy. But generally, and one of the questions that all the directors were asking was, what does the usage look like in our our city, and even Canby is going up. Yeah. And funny enough, there's a committee in Link of people from different libraries who choose the items that we have available to borrow. And this past fiscal year, 5 digital items were not checked out. Every other item had been checked out at least once or more than once. And then right now too, we're talking about adding more money to the e-content budget for other language materials because that usage is also going up. Mostly Spanish and Chinese is going up.
Why are ebooks so much more expensive than physical books? They can rip us, they rip us off because they can.
This was a big conversation during COVID, and I think that's also one of the reasons why the prices are going up, because COVID forced a lot of people to move to e-content, and now but the one thing that I know a lot of patrons may or may not know is the fact that you can have library cards from several different counties, and you can put all of those library cards into your Libby app and borrow from many different catalogs. So I borrow from Washington County, Multnomah County, Fort Vancouver, Link. So like a book that I want is always available through my. But yeah,
But
if
you
you want help doing that, let us know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do I have to go to every library to do that?
Well, the good thing that a lot of people don't know too is we have a mix agreement with other certain counties. It's a lot of the ones in Oregon, like the ones I just stated. But if you bring your Link library card to a library in those counties, we have a mix agreement where we can get a library card from them and they can get a library card from us. So then you have.
But you have to show up at one of their libraries.
You have to
Show
show at least that
Physically go.
first time.
Right,
Yeah,
right, to get the
Yeah.
card, right.
it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
It is worth it, let me tell you. I never run out of stuff to listen to or read.
No, I never run out either, but sometimes I'm listening to things I just as soon not bother with. Not listening, but
So, Friends of the
Reading.
Library, so everybody got an envelope from Kathy about your renewal. So I have,
what's that about?
so the Christmas open house, there's only going to be 2 houses this year. And it's Jason Padden's house and Mary Lester's house. I've never been in Mary Lester's house, but I can tell you that Jason Padden's house is absolutely, totally phenomenal. It's a little tiny 1,400 square foot house. And that man is so freaking creative. You'll go in and you'll go, how does he do that? I was in his house once several years ago when someone literally offered him, he had a swag above a door frame. They offered him $200 cash on the spot for it. Jason's like, well, I'm in the middle of showing my house. I can't do that. He's amazingly creative. I don't know how many trees he has anymore. I mean,
No, Mary's house is incredible. too.
so yeah, so for $10, it's really worth it. They're open from 2 to 6 on the Saturday, the 16th. So if you have a few hours, and it's
And I will be at Mary Lester's house and I'll be taking roll. In case anybody needs some encouragement.
So it's the day before we're having the extended family holiday party, which is at my house, but I might just show up at Mary Lester's house with my $10 and
I would certainly hope so.
that. The next thing is this shop can be, dine can be, play can be. This is something that the city is doing, that the Friends of the Library are participating in. So on the second page, the participants, Artomatic, Backstop, Baker's Prairie, Bees Bake Shop, Rental and Equipment, Canby Smiles, Clackamas County Fairgrounds, Club Fit, Ebner's, Stedix by Marissa, Fultano's, Kiwanis Gift Store, Los Dos Agaves. And somewhere in here, we should be here. What number are we? Oh, we hadn't.
19. Oh, wait.
Friends.
Yes, Friends of the Canby
Friends is
Public Library. So
19.
if you buy something in the bookstore, it has to be $10 worth. You can have a card you pick up at the library and they stamp it after, because you know, the library takes the money for the Friends. And so the other, you have a card, you go around and get it stamped, and there's going to be a drawing on January the 4th. And it's to get people to shop local, dine local, play local. And you can get as many cards as you like. But they have to be submitted by 8 PM on Thursday, January the 4th. So there, so you can actually buy stuff in, and they have a giftable table where some of the newer books and some handmade aprons that I made are for sale. We've sold several of the aprons already. So that's what the Friends are doing this year. There is no tour of lights this year. Am I missing anything for the Friends, Linda? So that's what's going on with the Friends. That's the giftable book sale is the newer stuff. They charge a little bit more for it. It's try to get, you need a last minute gift. You can run in and get a book or whatever they're selling over there. So that's what the Friends are doing. And then next, the city administrator interviews. Marissa, I'll let you go for it. So Marissa was invited to a different there was 3 sessions. There was the city employees, there was the directors, and then there was key members of the public. Like Ray Keene was there from the Canby Center, and I was there from the Library Advisory Board. So
Yes, city stakeholders.
city stakeholders was right.
Yeah, I thought the whole entire process was super interesting. We had 3 candidates, 2 were internal city staff. One was interim and Stein, and then the other was Jamie Stiefel, who is the director of economic development. I thought that Jamie did such a great job. She was a great interviewer, and I thought Eileen did well also, and really shined for the city council at the end. So it was a very jam-packed day. Those 4 people had to go through interview after interview after interview with so many different kinds of people who live and work in Canby. And I think there were a couple different parts of the process that people had some issues with. Like for example, during the lunch portion, city council and the mayor were in the room with everybody who was a part of the interviews, and we weren't really able to say who we liked and who we wanted them to choose. We couldn't use names unless we were sharing something that a candidate had specifically said. So I felt like at the end of that meeting, they were confused and didn't really know who we all wanted. But that wasn't their fault. That was just the way that the whole entire thing is supposed to go. Apparently, we don't sway their decision, but by the end of the day, I believe they had made their choice and did offer the job to the interim. I thought the whole entire thing was super interesting. There were certain parts of the process that I think everyone wants to change, but I think overall, we got a good city administrator.
Yeah, so my perspective of looking at this is that I know nothing about running a city. I know a heck of a lot about management and spent a career counseling, management, stuff like that. So I was really interested in the people management side of things. And I thought they did the facilitators did an okay job of poking in on the people management side of things. Thought they could have gone a little bit more in depth, but people only had an hour, and they obviously had to do both sides of the equation. But yes, I thought that that Jamie brought a lot to the table, and the other man brought a lot to the table too. It was interesting that he pointed out that Canby has an image problem, that when you make it to the national news because you banned a bunch of books from the school, you have an image problem. And I admire him for bringing it up and saying, we have an image problem. And I thought that all 3 of them brought up issues that definitely need to be addressed. So, and I made this in the lunchtime comment, that no matter who they choose, is that all 3 people brought up issues that Canby needs to address. And with Eileen in particular, it's going to we're going to have to address the fact that we need a new water treatment plant, which is going to be with lots of zeros before the decimal point, and we got to find a way to pay for it. But yeah, if it's not one thing, it's another, right? I was glad that I went. I mean, I got, I can't imagine how they felt, because I got home at 1:30 after getting here at 8 o'clock in the morning. It was kind of like, oh my God, that was like working.
It
It
was exhausting
was,
for us. I can't even
yes.
imagine how they got through it. Yeah. Plus they had the city council interviews afterwards, which was like the big one, and then they also had to do a tour of Canby, which too didn't do a lot about Canby.
Right, right.
It was a full day.
And so no, Eileen has to move here, right? That's one of the conditions of taking the job. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, it was an interesting process. I'm glad that I got to go to it and see it. And so Eileen was my first choice too. So I'm very happy with the results of that. So I'm going to skip this and go to the donation policy process next. That we just, do you want to sit down and write policy, or do you want me to do it? You're the one who did the research, but
I can do it.
yeah,
I'll do it. Why not?
yeah.
Let's do it.
So when the first year I was on this library advisory board, I mean, I wrote a policy and we bashed it out in here. So
Alright.
understand that it's a draft, and everybody, and then we'll submit it to the city for acceptance. And that's basically what we did, right? We wrote a policy, we bashed at it, and knocked a few dents out.
Made a recommendation.
Yeah, we made a recommendation, and then the city accepted it. That, if you want to take it, yeah.
I'll give it a whirl. I'm
Yeah.
down. All right.
Well, you can go on the library's website and, you know, you don't have to, I don't like things written too legalistically. I think it kind of turns people off.
Good, I don't speak that, so.
I know, it's not,
Simple rules.
There you go.
yeah,
Nice
I'm a
there.
big believer in the KISS theory, keep it simple, stupid, that,
Got it.
so Christie will own that.
All right.
So that's an easy. So I want to talk about the library hours next, Marissa, because that is the one thing that Jennifer asked me to express in this meeting for her, since she couldn't be here tonight, is that she really would like to see the library open in the evening. However, she's also concerned about the impact on the staff. So she wanted me to express her concerns, that I think that everybody is concerned about the impact on the staff. But at the same time, how do we get it all, is what I'd like to know. So how does the staff feel about evening hours?
Everybody is very, very on the same page with that. Everyone's open to it, partially because it will help with the programming times. I mean, it's really hard to have programs end and everyone be out by 6 o'clock. So I think everyone is very open to it. It will, mess up some schedules, but everyone's very open to it. The question really is because we can't expand hours, we can shift the hours. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure this was discussed in this group was because I kind of want everybody to think about all the different possibilities of what that could mean. What does shifting hours look like? Are we moving every day, Monday through Thursday, 10 to 7? Are we doing a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday split where one's 9 to 6 and one's 10 to 7? Are we going back and forth every day? Are we keeping things as they are? Are there things I'm not thinking about, other ideas? So this is just really a conversation that I want to make sure we're starting to talk about, because we do want to make the change before spring. I'm going to say before spring, maybe even earlier than that, but that's kind of what we're all thinking about. And we definitely want to do it before summer reading and whatnot. But I think everybody is on the same page.
Okay.
To shift hours, at least for a couple days.
So when I first moved to Canby in 2015, it was, I think Monday, Wednesday, it closed at 6, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays opened to 8, and it drove me absolutely crazy. I mean, for people who've lived here longer, did that split bother anybody else, or was it just me getting used to that?
Oh, no, that was very difficult. I had little kids then, and I would come after work with my kids, and it would be closed one day, but not the next.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
some way to keep it uniform.
I think what's difficult about Canby is that we have seniors and people with small children who like the 9 o'clock, but then that eliminates time for the working people who can only meet in the evenings, and it eliminates it for the teenagers.
Students.
Yeah, you know, so there's no good answer for that, you know. But so the reason I wanted to bring that up first is that, I mean, everybody has seen the last draft I did of this, but my request to the city council is that they have somebody meet with Marissa to try to figure out a way to better serve the residents of Canby. And that means changing hours. And we can make recommendations, but I'm going to put the responsibility is on the city council. We are an advisory board. We can make recommendations, but we can say, what we've heard is that this is an issue, and that we can make a request that they do whatever they can to come up with the funds that make the library truly something that is worthwhile for all of the residents of Canby and not just a subset of them. That's kind of where I came to after.
Yeah, and I just have a question to think about. Do we have any current data that tells us gives us some ammunition, so to speak, on who is using it when? In other words, are commuters want to use it, or do they care? Where do seniors fit in?
That's
Where does
why
business fit
we
in?
wanted to do a survey.
We didn't do we don't have
Yeah.
a current survey.
Yeah.
We have something from probably the past.
But the one that Irene did was just, she surveyed people who came into the library, which,
Well, that's,
We also did the Saturday market, and it was also, I think there were links put up at like Fred Meyer and stuff like that, but, yeah, I would say it was mostly.
yeah,
yeah,
but it follows suit that you're looking at a broader perspective, a citywide perspective. Who's coming to, go to the restaurant? Who's going, to Canby Rental to rent equipment? I mean, who's using small business plus adding in the library services? Because it's all people coming into town because they want to do something before they go home. They're commuters.
well, we used to participate in First Thursday, and so First Thursday is a citywide, to get people into downtown on the first Thursday of the month. And Patty's the bookstore manager for us. She'd always put on a big sale, and we would have the first Thursday sign, which we haven't been able to use because we're not open on Thursdays now. So there's definitely some things that we've missed out on by not, that we used to do that we don't do anymore because we're not open, And then, we used to have, the teen programs in the evening are, I think, the biggest miss, and then the use of the meeting rooms for people who do work and can't get in during the day and stuff like that, so.
Let me
But
ask.
we don't have any, I don't think we have good enough
Yeah.
data.
Is there any value, I'm just crazy questions. Is there any value to having like seasonal, this season, like the pool runs, okay, this is your summer season, this is your winter season, or does that make it, does that make it more confusing to the general public that they don't have a set time year round? They want to be guaranteed a closure at 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock, what number, what, 7, because.
I know of some libraries, not in Link, but some libraries that do like summer hours and everything else. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. And again, this discussion is to figure out all the possibilities,
Mhm.
figure out which one makes sense,
Mhm.
or that people could get behind, because we're going to be, our hours are going to be an issue for someone at all times. It's about getting, the biggest needs met. So that's definitely a possibility. But again, one of the reasons that and I told you guys this in the work session, one of the reasons that we were able to be open till 8 Monday through Thursday, and then later Friday, Saturday, was because of the pages that we had that work in the evening, and now that position no longer exists.
Mhm.
So we have, even though they were part-time and they added up to like a full-time position, they were here all of the hours.
Mhm.
So it just makes it really.
So I think that one of the asks have to be that the city tries to come up with more funds to pay for some pages. I mean, basically, if I'm going to be the person sitting there asking the city council, it's going to be that asking that they assign someone to work with Marissa to figure out ways to make the library open more hours. You know, not just, I mean, shifting the hours, that, I understand that that might have to happen, but the library still needs to be open more hours. And I'm willing to give up Sundays even for a while, but until things get on a better footing, but I think that we have to have some evenings.
I think shifting hours is, number one, and then expanding is number two. And, the library, the page position wasn't really gotten rid of because of budget issues. Automatic checking machine that moved forward. So that decision was just made way too early.
Now we're living with the results of it.
I mean, and you have to think too, like the library page position, it is the very first position besides a volunteer in the library system. You don't need experience, everything can be taught, and, the pay is,
Commensurate.
it's fair, but like, compared to what a librarian would be getting paid is this much. So when you also have part-time pages working 10 to 15 hours, it doesn't end up equaling very much. So the fact that those positions were gotten rid of is still really, it hurts because, I mean, those duties got absorbed up to the library assistants. And our library assistants now, at least the two that are 20-hour or 25-hour, which was a position I started in, they don't have time to do any of the stuff that I have time to do because they're doing all of those things. And also,
So that's really the way to make the argument to the city, it seems to me, is that, here, yeah, yes, exactly, exactly. That's very appealing to somebody who has to put a budget together. If we spent this money for these pages, then this would be the outcome in terms of the amount of time that the assistants, library assistants would have to do things. This is how much bang we get for our buck. And if in fact we had those positions at one point, that money is somewhere. That didn't just disappear.
maybe that's the angle.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, we need more money, but it's not as much as we will.
I mean, I worked for a community college. Trust me, you to be sneaky about about budget. But it seems to me that's a really legitimate argument to make. We're not using the money we have very efficiently because of the way we're staffed.
And that position too, generally, I mean, we did have, some people who had retired who wanted to be in that position.
Sure.
It's a really good position for teenagers who want a first job and experience in the library. Because for some of them, their hours would be from 5 to 8, a couple days a week. So if they only be there for a couple hours, get their experience and get paid, and it's a really good first job. That's where I started.
Look, would that, if we did some outreach with the high school, like through counseling or just keep people, would that generate any interest, do you think?
I believe so, yeah.
In key areas,
I think so. I have friends who've always wanted to like get involved with the library more, but maybe volunteering just doesn't do it. And I'm sure that would be appealing to the students.
Yeah, because not everybody wants to work in fast food.
Yeah.
Not
everyone wants to be a restaurant worker or bag groceries or whatever.
Yeah,
So I think that is something.
that's a good point to put in the, that this is,
Great first job.
it's a great first
I
job.
think that because we have like the college and career center at the high school, I think that can go through there. And I think that could be really good.
Yeah, it's not a position that we expect people to stay in for, 3 to 4 years, although you totally can do that. It's more of a, for a couple of years, put the next person in and train them. And I've had quite a few library pages ask me a lot of questions about library school, and that was what they ended up 2 weeks after their undergrad session. It's a good opportunity. It's like we're busy, but it's always fairly quiet. It's not a stressful job. It's a good first job.
And even beyond high school, if they're commuting to Clackamas or whatever, it's a nice little few hours, they can make some money, pay for their gas or whatever, even beyond high school, yeah.
Out of curiosity, how much in approximately?
I don't know, I don't even think I can give you the number. I think it starts. Most of our pages were usually 15 hours a week. Plus,
Yeah,
I
the,
mean,
the minimum,
obviously-
minimum wage is what, $13.50 an hour now?
Yeah, let's just say 13.50. That would be $810 a month.
Minus the third that Uncle Sam takes.
I mean.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, but still,
It'd
you're a
make
poor
a, di- it'd
student.
make a
but it
difference.
makes a huge difference.
Make a
to
difference.
that.
Mhm.
It's this little pay, I mean,
But,
you know,
so,
budget.
one question I have though, if you have pages in the evening, you have to have a staff member here too though, right?
yes, you
Yes.
always have a staff member.
Yeah.
And before COVID, our rule was to always have 3 people to open the building and 3 people to close. And then when we started getting those positions removed, whatever, then basically,
They're not meeting in here, are they?
who?
The bicycle and pedestrian?
No,
committee?
they're upstairs. No, but basically we went from 3 opening and closing staff to 2, and that was partially because we had 2 people at the desk and 1 person in the back to get packages to do the background work. But now that we're short staffed, it's 2 people, and having, like, we would probably still need 3 people to close, I would say, but with 3 pages, we could do it.
Okay, so the logistics of this, we're going into a crazy busy holiday season. If people want to meet with me individually, we can meet at the library or something like that to go over the presentation. I obviously have some work to do because I want to make some changes to it. And then when should we ask to get on the calendar? Should we wait until after our January meeting? So,
Yeah.
There's already
Okay.
stuff scheduled for the next,
okay,
yeah. Plus there's a break.
Right.
Yeah, I would ask January for like.
okay, okay. So what I'd like to do then is to work on the draft again. I'm used to doing like multiple drafts of documents, so it doesn't bother me in the least. And to work with people as their schedules permit. Christy can meet during the day. Amy, you just let me know what works for you. Rick,
Anytime,
yeah.
daytime.
Linda lives next door to me, so.
I don't answer the door.
It's okay, I'll catch you at the mailbox. So, and Luke, if you have any other thoughts, I mean, whatever works for people. I just, I know that this can be a crazy time of the year with family obligations and stuff like that. And I just want to make sure that people do what works for them. But I would like to have and it could be early in January too, because by our January meeting, I would like to have a draft that we can all kind of agree on, that only needs some final polishing. Linda likes to correct my grammar. My spelling is good. It's my grammar that she occasionally.
Well, we're a
objects to.
perfect pair because my spelling is terrible.
Does that sound like a plan? Yeah. So we're not, don't believe we're going anywhere for the holidays. Our kids live up in north of Seattle, but one of them is coming down here and the other one, if we go up, we'll go up in early January. So we should be here.
And I can help whenever.
Right. Yeah. So,
So
Okay.
you're thinking that the final presentation will be in February?
Yeah.
Council meeting?
and that's when you're gonna be gone?
Well, the first 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
I'll be here I'll be back for
For the meeting.
for the February meeting,
Okay.
our meeting, but I'll be gone the first
Okay.
2 weeks.
First a week. I'm gonna write that down.
I'll be back on the 20th. 20th of February is when I'll be back. gone from the 1st to the
New
20th.
Zealand, yummy.
I'm, December 15th, I'm more available after that.
Okay,
Well, that day,
we get together for coffee or tea or
lovely.
a drink or something. Luke, you gonna be around over the holidays? Are you guys?
I should be, yes, I'm going out of town around New Year's. I'll be a little bit busy. I'm in the Nutcracker.
Oh,
I'll be busy around that time. I'm in like the first scene, but it's
you have to be there.
But kind of in that in between, like the 18th and then like whatever that's.
Okay. Okay. Marissa, you're gonna be gone over the holidays? You staying?
Nope,
Nope.
I'll be here. My sister's baby, everyone's coming to us now.
Oh.
He's a month old.
Okay, I'm gonna move that we adjourn the meeting. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Sorry, I was a little bit discombobulated. I lost a bunch of stuff just because I think I hit delete sometimes without knowing what I'm deleting.
Yeah, and I'll be here up until February.
Yeah, we don't go right over the holidays
No, we
either.
got- No, we got,
My husband hates traveling over the
no,
holidays.
we don't.
Yeah,
We
it's
don't.
crazy.
And then you have grandkids to mix, then you got, we're the home base for the grandkids, so.